This is a Poet Punch podcast. Alright,
We're back.
we're back again for another batch of these little things. Okay.
Help me.
Help me.
No, it's it.
I'm dying here.
Right. What number are we getting today? So what number did we get, Nat?
Oh, what number did we get? Oh, we got 50. So we've got Nathaniel Richards, Native, Nature Girl, Nebula, Nebulon the Celestial Man, and Nebulos.
Some of these are very good.
And some of these are interesting.
Four.
4.
Nebula.
Nebula.
Yes!
Let's go.
And I just peeked my mic. Whoops.
That's fine. Fuck. Well, I mean, okay, obviously. Oh, shut up, phone.
Put it on silent. Put it on
Silence.
silent.
Silence, phone.
I think we do the origin story of Nebula.
Okay, but the first thing would be, how is that not trodden ground from what we already see with Gamora? Because it's kind of the same story. She's an adopted orphan of Thanos.
No, but I think it's very different.
I think you gotta make it so that Gamora is technically the villain.
Yeah.
In like a really technical way. Where it's like, technically she is the antagonist of the project, but in no ways is a bad person. Well,
I think we could do very well here because we could cast like Karen Gillan as the Nebula without the prosthetics on, and throughout the movie or whatever,
she
or
gets
show or
continuously.
whatever, it's more and more pieces are like put on.
Ooh, I know how you do that. Now, one of my favorite movies, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs or Jobs?
The one that Danny Boyle did.
Right.
That one, where it's essentially snapshots of his life told through different sales conferences.
Right.
So it's kind of like the last hour before each big tech demonstration, and how that's kind of like showing all of the different mishaps in his life around him, where everything's like, oh, of course this all happens just before I'm about to go on stage, kind of deal. We kind of do that, but it's like 3 separate big missions that he sends her on.
Right.
So it's almost like maybe you do like episode 1 is we haven't seen what time. Do we just assume it's going to be a prequel?
Well, we could.
We'll see and then disagree.
Yeah. Phase 4. Oh.
I got an argument for it. So we do what I just said, and then make one where it's like the final episode, like how Tales of the Jedi
Goes
to like different bits of Ahsoka's life.
Yeah.
Where it's like before she was in the academy, when she was a baby, when she was training under Anakin, and like the aftermath of Order 66. Like those being 3 different times. You do that, but essentially the last one is like a nice reminder that she's in a better place now and she's got like the Guardians with her.
Yeah, because you could do that.
Because Guardians 3 is in Phase 4, right?
Phase 5, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about we ignore that then?
No, you see, I think
How about we ignore that?
we could do.
Or it's a story when like
I think
still like
I think
drowning in shit.
I think we do that. It's the story of Nebula, kind of like being on the like. So when everyone's come back, all the Guardians have come back,
yeah,
but they might not exactly accept Nebula as one of them straight away. Like Rocket will.
I
Rocket
would argue.
will.
Oh yeah.
But like Star-Lord and stuff will be like.
I would argue that it's probably a good. That's probably a good one. Oh, I know. Okay, so what you do is essentially it's her relationship with Gamora at different steps in her life.
Oh, with the new Gamora.
And so the final one is essentially when she's having to kind of be the intermediary between Star-Lord and Gamora and all of the rest of the people. So she has that sister connection with Gamora still, and is kind of trying to do what's best for Gamora.
I think it's more you do it around like family, so you can do the wider Guardians thing, but it's
then
very
you also
focused.
still have the sister dynamic with Gamora.
But that's why I think you make it very clear in the final bit that's in Phase 4 that the relationship between her and the new Gamora is very it's not on good terms, where she's actually on better terms with the Guardians.
Yeah, and it's almost
she's
almost
still the
a
new
full
person.
circle from when she was on bad terms with Gamora at the beginning of the season, because it's like Phase 1 Thanos having grabbed.
I think if so, we're going to do a show for this. There,
I think it's an anthology style show where it's technically different snapshots of her life at different times, because she's one of those characters that has always been in an ensemble cast in some way, shape or form, and works best when in those casts. So it's more of it's more of an examination of her character in different parts that we may not have seen in detail, because she's been like a B-list.
Yeah, one of the episodes
in different bits.
I think maybe the second. I think right.
I want to point out for this one, I met you, Karen Gillan, once. You were very lovely. That's all.
All right.
In the unlikely event that you're listening to this.
I have an idea for how I would structure a few of the episodes. I would have one. So I think the very first episode would be, like in the opening of the first Thor movie, where it's Odin with young Thor and Loki talking about like what it takes to be king and stuff like that. It's that, but it's much more like fucked up overtone.
Yeah.
But with Thanos, like when they're kids, so he's not quite made Gamora and Nebula fight each other yet.
Okay, no, I want to argue no.
Maybe that not for a full episode,
or at least that could be like episode 2. I really think episode 1 should be her with her original family.
Yeah.
And then you have Thanos right at the end.
Actually, yeah, showing the Thanos, like what,
because I
showing
think
what
that
Thanos
also makes her way more personable. Because part of the thing with her character in Guardians 1 is that James Gunn is intentionally like making that whole trauma be a sideline thing. Because like that's more of Gamora's story to tell in Guardians 1, despite it also being.
I think that's
Nebula's.
I think that's a good idea. Because one thing we never really saw is what Thanos' invasions used to look like.
Yeah.
What Thanos' invasions used to look like when it was just him coming down, killing a bunch of people, and then sorting. Like, we saw the end of that with the Infinity War stuff, where he sorts people out. But we never saw what that looked like, from the perspective.
Warfaring,
and just how fucked Earth would have been.
Yeah.
If it was that.
For sure. I think that's why it's an interesting episode. So you could make it interesting on in terms of it being kind of the groundworks for what Nebula will eventually become, no matter what. Because I think your original family will impact you.
I think one of the episodes should be Nebula trying to hunt down Thanos just before Infinity War. You know how she gets captured and then tortured by Thanos? Before Infinity War starts, one of the episodes should be about her trying to, her attempting to assassinate Thanos before Infinity War.
I would say this is 5 episodes, and I'm gonna go run down my pitch of what the 5 episodes are. So you have Child Gamora, with abduction of Thanos, etc.
Yeah,
you have teenage Gamora. You have teenage Nebula training with Gamora, hating Gamora.
Yeah.
Then you have Baby's first reconnaissance mission, where it's probably like that's where she eventually gets so jaded, like she's maybe got her last like vestige of no, this is bad in her, and then that gets wiped out.
Yeah, and then she becomes subservient. Yeah.
Then Guardians 1 happens, la 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 la. Guardians 2 happens, la 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 la. Then you have episode 4, Chase Thanos. Then you have episode 5, kind of an epilogue, fix all of the broken stuff with the Guardians, or at least attempt to. And then it's kind of a preparation for Guardians 3. And so if you were watching Guardians 1, 2, 3, you would probably go, okay, watch episodes 1 to 3, watch Guardians 1, watch Guardians 2, watch episode 4, maybe then watch the Avengers Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame, then watch episode 5, Guardians 3.
I would like also, though, an episode that's more of what Gamora's doing in the 5 years between Infinity War and Endgame.
Nebula.
Sorry.
What
What Nebula is doing?
What star thing?
Because a lot of the MCU hasn't touched on really what that was like in the middle of those 5 years.
Right. Where was she again?
So she's
was she with the Avengers at that point?
She's with Rocket, coming back and forth to Earth and stuff.
Right, and then they're the ones that find Iron Man, right?
No.
Or is that Captain Marvel?
No. Captain Marvel. So she's with Iron Man on the ship before the 5-year time gap.
Yeah.
After the 5-year time gap, you see that she is like in space with Rocket, presumably doing like Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
Yeah.
But it could be good to show maybe
Do you know what I would make an argument for?
What?
Not all of these episodes have to be like 30 to 40 minutes.
No.
Some of them can just be 15 minutes.
That's why I'm saying 6 episodes.
Yeah, but like that means that you can easily get a little snippet of that without having to think, oh, what's the acts 1, 2, and 3 of this really specific timeline thing, and it's more just a very brief character exploration of like, oh, how has the relationship between Nebula and Rocket changed now that they are the only 2 people with shared history with one another alive right now?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. Yeah. So episode 1.
Invasion.
The family.
Thanos invasion. That one needs to be longer.
The abduction of Thanos. I would say that's probably a full 30-minute long thing, right? Episode 2, I would argue, is equally as long, because you are basically setting up the groundworks of like why she hates Gamora and how Thanos is kind of sick for pitting them against each other.
It would be so heartbreaking if you pitch it as Nebula being, because there's hints in Guardians 2 that Nebula really just wanted to get on with Gamora the whole time.
I think that's true as well, because the way I see their dynamic from everything that they imply during all of the films, the way I see it, Gamora was a bully and Nebula was kind of just an innocent victim, and if anything, Guardians 1 is her wanting to have Gamora have a comeuppance, even though she kind of understands that Gamora has had a change of heart.
Yeah,
and not liking the fact that she's the one that had a change of heart. It's
kind of like you don't like.
It's
she
like
kind of feels
you're
like
not allowed to have a redemption.
Yeah, you don't deserve to suddenly become the good guy. Yeah,
and then realizing, oh right, we were both.
Like
we were
all
both
of the
put for a systematic torture.
It's a bit
cycle.
like what all of the Iron Man villains are kind of like, where it's like, hey, you were a prick to me when you weren't good, then you became good,
and I don't like that.
And I don't like that because now I like every time I
do not like that you are having a redemption arc and you are a rich man that is doing well.
Yeah,
bad. I am Russian and or maybe American with biotech.
Yeah, real.
But
I think that what we've got there is actually quite a good.
So that's 1 and 2, and then 3 would be the mission, and I kind of see it the same way as like the intro sequence in Captain Marvel is.
Oh, where it's just a routine.
It's kind of that vibe where it's like a routine thing, but like the main emotional beat that we're getting from it is after episode 2, where she realizes that she can't trust anyone, including someone that she's kind of seeing as a sister now.
Yeah.
That's like her final moment of, oh right, fuck everyone, I'm just going to kill people to survive. I'm just going to play the game. That's her beat in episode 3. Which then makes it interesting if episode 4 is the chase down Thanos episode, because that if anything, I think it makes it interesting if you essentially just have that jump, right? Because you have that beat of that that emotional jadedness.
You could
and
even
then you have the complete opposite.
You could
in episode 4
but you
with,
could
I'm gonna
even
fucking hunt him down.
You could even in the episode where she's hunting down Thanos,
Mm-hmm.
it's set up in a way that it looks like it's another routine mission to kill a target.
And then
only
you realise
for
that it's Thanos
only
the
for
entire time.
the target being, like
and,
Thanos.
And part of the reason why you think it's routine is because it's so like
Clean.
functional and clean, and everything is methodical. And then you just never expect that from the Nebula that you see in kind of Guardians 1 and 2, where she's just pissed off.
Well, in 2, she's kind of like at the point where she wants to kill. Like 2, she's planning on hunting down Thanos.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, as in like she's got rage behind her in 1 and 2, and then it's not really methodical. And then 4, you assume it's the same as 3 until you realize it's a time jump, and the reason why she's so methodical is because it's kind of like a contained rage now. It's like a funneled, like, this is my goal, rather than I'm just angry all the time.
Yeah.
And
then
5...
and then the sadness of 4 is that she's done everything perfectly and still fails.
Yeah. It's kind of like oh fuck, there is no way I could ever do this on my own.
Yeah.
Which she probably won't take as a lesson per se, but it's kind of like the ultimate.
But then I think that's what the lesson of episode 5 kind of is.
It's kind of like, oh right, and now I've learned from Guardians, from Avengers, I need to work within a group.
You could even have 5, because I assume that Nebula and Nebula and Tony. I assume that Nebula and Tony, I assume, are on somewhat good terms.
That's interesting, but I have a good idea.
Right.
I have a good idea. So she's learned this lesson from episode 4 that she cannot do things on her own.
Mm.
Rocket has maybe learned the exact opposite lessons from Avengers, where it's, if anything, he sees it as too many cooks made a batch go wrong, and he's angry and he's livid. And if anything, Nebula is calming him down. So she's been the one that calms someone else down for the first time in her own life.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic. And so she's kind of passing this torch of, here is what I've learned from my mistakes. Learn it yourself. You've already learned it yourself in Guardians 1 and 2. Mm. Don't just suddenly change your mind just because everything went wrong once.
Yeah.
That kind of story. So that's episode 5. And then episode 6 is the post-Guardians 3. No, pre-Guardians 3.
Pre-Guardians 3.
Like, linking up. Yeah.
Do we even need?
I don't know.
Episode 6,
because I think combine 5 and.
You could have 6 as just the epilogue of.
I think 3, like Guardians 3 does a good job of making you feel like you understand what has happened since. Yeah,
because she feels like a part of that team.
So you almost don't need episode 6 of this.
Yeah.
It could be nice, but you can just do 1 to 5, and it's solid.
Yeah.
Should we just make this a short episode? I think we're done.
No, I think there's more.
Really? I think we could just do a 25er.
All right, I do want to go over. I want to go over each of the episodes a bit more.
How?
For example, for the first episode, what does Thanos' invasion actually look like?
The way I see that one is very much.
And what type of planet?
I don't know about what type of planet, but the way I see that, at least in my brain, I know exactly how the camera action's going, which is it's going to be very it's all handheld. It's
very that Godzilla movie.
It's very like Cloverfield. Which is what you're trying to think of.
But also the Godzilla movie that does the...
Sure. It's like... Sure.
Okay.
It probably did it after Cloverfield.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And then, so it's very like that, where it's all handheld, all kind of messy. And so it feels kind of homely. If anything, you could do a mock space camcorder.
No, I think that's too. I think that might be too much.
That might be too much.
But I do like
the rough camera.
I do like the idea of, seeing Thanos' invasion from the perspective of your average person, from the perspective of the average person trying to escape, only to end up being confronted by exactly Thanos. So you know how Gamora ends up in front of Thanos in Infinity War as baby Gamora. Do you know what I mean? Pay attention.
So I'm trying to Google Nebula home planet.
Right. But hold
What
on.
did you say? Repeat it.
I said, right. You know how in Infinity War, Gamora ends up just in front of Thanos by pushing through the crowd and stuff.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing, but shot from the perspective of a child almost.
Yeah.
Like, not like shot in first person or anything,
so
but like
less...
making Thanos look huge in comparison.
Yeah, because
and terrifying.
A lot of the stuff in Infinity War, in terms of like camera angles, is all high angle looking down at Gamora from Thanos' perspective, because it is kind of reminiscing. It's Thanos' memories, and it's reminiscing from his perspective. So it would be the exact same kind of scenario, but then from a very
can we
different
get away
perspective.
with very, very minimal Thanos until episode 4?
Oh yeah.
So what I mean
I just assumed that was the case.
What I mean is that
like episode 2 maybe has a bit of Thanos.
No,
but episode 1 probably has little to no Thanos.
So I think like, what I was thinking is that like episode 1, Thanos is kind of like the way I would like see it visually is that he's almost like backlit, silhouetted, so that you know it's him.
1.
So you know it's him.
Yeah.
But you don't. But he's more of monstrous and terrifying.
Get the voice maybe, and that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
And then
I still think, or at least you need him to have a capacity to have a sense of being there, even if he's not there.
Well, that's why I'd use the others from the Black Order. His little minion
I wouldn't
people.
even do those.
I know, but I would have like
too comical.
No, but I would keep one of them, like maybe the one who can move stuff with his hands, like the.
Nah, I genuinely I don't even like that, because I just think he's too goofy. And I think Thanos actually has like a foreboding sense to him.
No, but
so if anything, it's more that you don't.
It's
more like Silence is Golden.
You know the guy guy from the first Avengers and from Guardians 1, who like speaks for Thanos a lot of the time, who then gets killed by.
He's the goofiest of them all.
But like from a child's perspective still, and you're meant to bear in mind in Avengers 1. Loki is terrified of just that guy, not even Thanos.
I guess.
So, like, you could do it that he speaks on behalf of Thanos the majority of the time.
Is he Chitauri, or is he just something?
I think he's just some weird.
He's just a little thing.
Yeah, but like you could definitely do that. Like every time they are hearing of what Thanos wants, it's not being done by Thanos telling them to do stuff. It's by this guy telling them what Thanos wants. Right. And then the episode 3 bit, which is where Gamora completely loses all sense of like morality of anything, and it's just about getting what's done, is that she could complete her mission perfectly, but something goes wrong on the end of this guy who's the in-between between everyone else and Thanos.
Yeah.
And to save face, he blames Gamora for fucking it up, which then causes Gamora to get like another bit of surgery done.
Is this in episode 2?
In episode 3. So like her full jaded arc.
Oh, so episode 2, he's this foreboding character.
Yeah.
And then by episode 3, she's kind of grown up a bit. But still gets fucked over by him.
Yeah.
And then that makes her even more.
So then at that point, she's trying to prove herself to be the most fat. She's basically
like terrified of him. Becoming friends with Gamora in episode 2, kind of betrayed by Gamora and betrayed by him in episode 3.
Yeah.
Episode 4 is then
and
I quite like that.
Yeah. And then episode 4 starts like I'm trying to almost like a John Wick style fighting through a ship of some kind that you don't see.
I've got a cool naming convention for all the different fucking episodes.
Right, okay.
You kind of start off with it being body parts or concepts of things that you've lost. And then as it gets towards the more hopeful end of it, it's things that you've gained again.
Right.
So with that episode 2 and episode 3, it would probably be like different surgical names for different things that she's gone through, like eyes, lungs, or something like
pancreas.
that. But the
so many snacks, all the time. That's my one Venom reference.
But episode 1, I would say, would be like soul or like childhood or something like that. Yeah. and then you may
no,
even
episode
repeat...
1 is home. Episode 1 is home.
I guess.
And then episode 5 is everything.
I feel like it's more like, because obviously she's lost her home. It's a very literal asset that she's lost. But in my mind, it's more like the feeling of feeling safe, or like the feeling
that is
of,
what
the feeling of
like,
the feeling of belonging to something that isn't cold.
But that is what home is, though. There's a difference between home and
no,
house.
I get you, but that's why I'm saying something like soul is because of that.
Right, but then that's a bit Infinity Stone-y. You could name them like.
I don't know if it's or like okay, it doesn't have to be soul, but it could be adjacent to that, where it's more of a personal thing on you, even if it's a bit more theoretical than like eyes. You know what I mean? Heart. Just call it hearts, and then like, heart.
I mean, like.
Heart, and then, which one is she has that monologue in Guardians 1 where it's like la 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 something happened and then you did something wrong and then that's why he took my something.
But that's Guardians 2, but yeah.
But what was it?
It's he stripped my arm from my body and my brain from my skull, and it's that one, right?
It's something like that, and it's because Gamora fucked up in some way, right?
No, it's because Nebula lost the fights to.
Which we should do in episode 2.
Yeah.
So
I think episode 2 is a long fight montage, kind of.
It's a training thing.
Montage, but each time she fails, we don't even have to show
I know.
the surgery. We just show what she now looks like after.
Yeah. We never like. I think if anything, it's more cold.
A bit like what they do with Rocket in Guardians 3 with the.
Sure, like, but hold on before I forget. So you essentially do it where it's like they have both teamed up in a whole larger group of sisters and brothers and whatnot, where it's essentially this big tournament structure to see who is the strongest and who will survive and be the worthiest of carrying out Thanos' rule, right? And you have them kind of systematically, kind of like in a Hunger Games environment, team up with each other. And Nebula is of the full belief that they're going to make it through. And they're going to make it through. And Gamora has very much gone, oh, fuck it, right, I'm going to have to team up with her. And then stab her in the back at the end.
That's really good because you can make a bunch of like other like children of Thanos that we never got to see because
for sure. Kind of like the same way where like they do more Inquisitors in different bits of Star Wars media, that kind of thing. I find that fun. So that would be episode 1 sorted, episode 2 sorted.
Episode 3, the first mission.
Yeah. And then something goes wrong. Her eyes are taken, or her whatever body part is taken. But I do like the system, the structure of it being items.
Episode 5.
You could even
episode 4. Sorry, is then like the hope or some shit because it's
hope.
The last bit that you could actually
take away,
or just
And then episode 5 and 6. I would argue that it's still I think the idea would be that it's still technically things that she's giving away. It's just that she's willingly giving them away. So it might be just something really simple like advice.
It's a bit flat. But...
It's a bit flat, but funnily enough, we're already 35 minutes into conceiving of the idea.
Right.
Whereas
so
something like
so if we
help, I don't know.
Anyway,
but
but I get what you mean.
I get
the concept. Yeah. I think for episode 4, I'd like the idea that it's half infiltration, half John Wick, kind of like taking people down on this ship.
Wait, which episode again?
Episode 4. The one where she's coming to kill Thanos.
Yeah.
And she's actually on the Sanctuary 2 ship.
Sure, yeah. Maybe even are we able to do it so that it's just before the Loki shit in Infinity War, or is that not possible in the timeline?
If it's like during the invasion of Xandar,
something like that,
where he gets the power stone.
Sure. that one.
Actually, that would be really good. Is that like her plan is to? She knows she can't kill Thanos in battle, but she also doesn't know what this battle is about. She doesn't realize that it's going to be.
So if anything, she's done all of this training and preparation
that would
have technically worked in any other scenario,
except for one where he already has the Power Stone by the end of the. I think
that's actually really good, because then it's like, oh my god, I've learned all of these lessons. Finally, maybe I can take down this guy. Boom, he's just done his little bad deed.
I think that's great as well, because you can show like actually the way that you misdirect the audience here is that the first few shots of it are of another invasion happening, like in episode 1.
Sure.
And then you cut to Nebula fighting people.
Yeah.
And it looks like, oh, she's fighting people as part of another invasion, and look, she's now gotten so good at it.
Yeah.
And then it's her getting all the way to the throne room, like thing or whatever, and then.
I think this is especially good because there are different scales of people who are sweaty with Marvel lore. So some people will go, oh my god, that's a Thanos ship.
Yeah, and
that she's shooting. Oh, what's going on? And then other people will be like, she's shooting the aliens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but I
different
think
scales of
giving
a fuck.
I think the way that we do it though, is that like you see the ship hanging over the planet. Mm-hmm. The planet is clearly is Xandar, but maybe at night, so it's not. It doesn't look the same.
We haven't seen it in that way.
And that
even
blown
though we've
up.
technically seen.
And
that,
then when we cut to Nebula, you don't realize that you've cut to Nebula on the ship and not on the ground.
Yeah.
So you don't. So, and then the aliens that she's fighting.
Do you know? I can hear the Marvel fans already being like, because with this premise, you would have to just not name the planets when you get to them, like for the exposition bits.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to be like Earth at this time or Xandar at this time or this time. That I can see so many Marvel fans being like, you didn't tell me what the planet was, and therefore I'm angry.
Nah, I think people
I can actually unironically see people being like annoyed that they got a twist.
Yeah,
and it's like, we're trying to try something new right now.
But I think that kind of twist works well, and then it's like the last line you can hear like over the intercom is like Thanos or something being like, I've got what I came for. Mm-hmm. Let's leave Xandar or something something like that. Like it's him coming up, and then her assassination attempt that absolutely would have just fucking domed Thanos if he didn't already have the
like
Power
30
Stone.
seconds prior.
Yeah. Because what I'm going to quickly just say, one of my favorite things in Infinity War, and this is that each time the heroes could have won in a bunch of different parts of that movie, if Thanos was one Infinity Stone before.
Yeah.
So
it's either something where they really should have learned a lesson.
Yeah.
And they didn't have time because they were rushing.
The big one is the killing of Vision. That's the most obvious one. If they had killed Vision before Thanos had got the Time Stone,
sure,
it would have been over. But there's stuff like a lot of the when they pin Thanos down, if he hadn't already gone and got the Soul Stone and killed Gamora, they would have stopped him right there. And it's not just about having the stone itself, but it's about the actions.
The reality stone as well.
The reality stone.
Even the reality stone bit, that it was like, just 10 minutes too short.
Yeah.
And therefore,
that's the whole.
And so, if anything, it's really I like that.
And Thor and the Hulk probably could have killed Thanos when he boarded their ship.
Yeah.
If he didn't have this is the same thing as Nebula's whole plan was revolved around the idea that Thanos didn't have an Infinity Stone yet. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. So if anything, you're just adding one additional step to the puzzle that is not puzzle, but to the.
It's like a puzzle.
It's like a puzzle. It's to the through line that is Infinity War with that one episode. That's fun. I genuinely think we should just wrap it up there. I think we're done. We're good. Nah, wrap it up. wrap it up.
Yeah. Okay. I
Chop.
okay.
We did that fast. I think
Just-
we owe us. We get a little treat. It's a 40-minute one.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I get a treat in editing a shorter one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can like?
Not really. All right.
Yeah. All right.
See you next time in 30 minutes for us, but
A long
week
time
for you, maybe.
That was a shit outro. I'm gonna just
Fuck you.